Good morning, GS111. My name is Professor Hyzy, just in case you haven't already seen any of my other videos, and I will be your instructor this semester. Eventually here, I will be addressing the important course syllabus policies, but first, there are a couple of questions I've gotten that I want to address just so that I don't forget. The first of those being, when do we meet? Well, that's a difficult question to answer because really there is no when. Our course is going to be what's called asynchronous. In other words, there's never going to be a time when we all sit around in front of our computer screens pretending that we're in the same classroom at the same time. Rather, what will happen is I will make available to you all of the necessary and relevant materials you need to do your work. I'll make sure that I give you all of the necessary instructions for doing and producing that work, and I'll be making myself available all the time through email and office hours 3 days a week, so that any additional assistance I could possibly give you is available that way too. Otherwise, the other thing to remember with asynchronous is the fact that because we're not in the classroom once every few days, due dates work a little bit differently. The way it'll work for our course, every week on Tuesday, you'll get a to-do list for the rest of the week. Now, there's a reason that it's Tuesday. All of the work from the previous week will be due at the end of the day that next Monday. So what this means is that if you get your list of things to do on Tuesday morning, you've got until the end of the day the following Monday to get those done. I'm doing Monday at the end of the day because I'd like to make sure that if anybody's got serious questions about how to get that work done, we've got the chance to address those and to do so on a regular class day. And of course, that's class day in quotation marks because it's not, physical. It's just a regular business day, call it. So, again, everything will be due on Monday at 11:59 p.m. and then the following Tuesday morning, you'll get your to-do list of things that are due the following Monday at 11:59 p.m. Now, this coming Monday, there's a special exception because of the fact that with Labor Day, we don't really have a regular class or business day Monday, and so I'll just move things back a day this coming week. That's why if you take a look at the to-do list for this week and all the due dates, you'll see that things are due Tuesday night. And I'll make the to-do list available the day afterwards for anyone who wants to get back on the board, and the following week will be back on the schedule as it will be throughout the rest of the term. Really, it's just going to be Labor Day that affects us that way. Lastly, the other question I've gotten has to do with textbooks, and I'm happy to say there really isn't one, or at least there is no course textbook that means you've got to go to the bookstore and buy one. Now, we'll use a lot of different things as textbooks. We'll use an open educational resource that's basically an electronic textbook that's been adapted for Blackboard, the course learning management system. We'll use various different websites. We'll use a number of different electronic and web services. So there will be a lot of different materials we use. We're just not going out and buying a printed textbook from a bookstore. With that, I'd like to transition into a discussion of the syllabus policies. Now, I do recommend going and getting your syllabus. Remember, that's in the syllabus and course info section on Blackboard. So I encourage you to pause at this second, go and get that syllabus, and follow along as we discuss it. Go ahead now. All right, I hope that having paused means that you've got the syllabus. Let's get into it. Sections A and B are self-explanatory, I think. This is GS111, and after that I've got the two sections I'm teaching. For all intents and purposes, though, given that we're remote, it's not that big a difference. Our course title, College Success Skills, you know that because you've signed up for it. Our program name, we are technically in the Liberal Arts and Science General Studies Division. My name is Professor Andrew Hyzy. Now, for contacting the instructor, this is really important stuff because, again, we're not going to be meeting in a classroom 2 or 3 times a week and seeing each other that way. You might notice, though, that I've got a different department listed here. Even though I'm teaching for general studies, and I like teaching this course quite a bit, my home department is English. Now, that doesn't matter much because we're remote, and it's not like you've got to come find me. But if ever down the road, maybe next semester, you've got something you want to ask me about, and we're back on campus again, my office is in the English department suite, and my department secretary is the English department secretary. So you can see those pieces of information reflected in the contacting the instructor section. Another thing to mention there is the fact that you could certainly call my phone number on campus if you wanted to leave me a message there, but be aware of the fact that I'm first going to get that message as a notification in my email, which means that really that's the best, most direct, most efficient way to get in touch if you have to. So please do use email if you can. The last item that I've got there in contacting the instructor is a listing of office hours, and these will be held digitally in what's called WebEx. And WebEx is SUNY Erie's version of Zoom. I'll be available there Monday and Wednesday from 10 to 12 and Friday from 10 to 11. Below that, you've got the direct link to my WebEx room. As long as you're working with a fairly new and updated browser, you should just be able to use that link and get directly to the room where I'll be available to you. Course description, yet another part of this that's so straightforward I'm not going to waste your time by reading it to you. Suffice it to say, we'll be taking a look at the set of skills that are necessary for both college life and life beyond the classroom. I guess there you go. That probably covers it the best. Scrolling down, really there's not too much that's going to affect you day to day here up until you get to the grading determination. I cannot stress enough, because I always get unhappy students emailing me after a semester's over, the course will be graded out of a possible 1,000 points. And actually, I've added a couple of bonus extra credit points to this course for anyone who wants them. When you get to the end of the course and Blackboard tells you something different, it's because Blackboard, while useful, is essentially dumb. All it knows to do is calculate your grade out of the number of points that you've attempted. So if you've only attempted, say, 800, and you're wondering why it is that Blackboard says you should have an A, it's because you didn't bother with the other 200 points for the course. So, like I said, just remember, out of 1,000 possible. As long as you know that, that's one more thing that will help you, particularly in the space between midterm and final, as you go about calculating what it looks like your final grade will be and how much more work you might have to do to get there. In K, again, not going to waste your time by reading all this to you, but I would say it's worthwhile just going down the list here and noting for yourself which portions of the course are worth the most credit. Doing so will be a good way to help you to decide what to spend your attention and time on as we progress through the semester. In Section L, Attendance Requirements, there is first a reiteration of what it means to be asynchronous, so it probably doesn't hurt to read that over again. It does also mention, though, that your attendance will be recorded and assessed based on your completion of weekly course engagement activities. You're basically weekly writing assignments that give you a way of reflecting on what you've discussed and learned that week and applying it to your specific life, both as a student and just as a person. So make sure to get those things done. The attendance requirements will also have a lot to do with your final grade. For classroom expectations, right, I know, we're not in classroom, but still, it doesn't hurt to remind oneself that the person, behind the computer screen across the internet over there, that person would benefit from the same sort of behavior I'd imagine you would like towards yourself. So we're talking about respectful, constructive adult manner, meanwhile, conduct that is disrespectful, disruptive, or otherwise problematic will be reported to the appropriate deans, and, if need be, you'll be dismissed from the course, so we don't want to go that far. I will, however, read you Section N in full because the college wants me to do so. Here we are. SUNY Erie Community College recognizes the right of qualified individuals with disabilities to access an education through appropriate accommodations. Disabilities can be, but are not, limited to physical limitations and chronic health conditions, to mental health and learning disorders as well. A student with a documented disability may be eligible to receive reasonable accommodations through the Student Access Centers located at each campus to access education. SUNY Erie looks to help eliminate barriers and disadvantages that may exist to all students pursuing an education to the best of their ability. If you would like to speak to a counselor to determine eligibility, please contact your campus Student Access Center. There's one important point there that I've got to add, just because it's not in the required text. If a student knows that they have a learning disability or in the past had an IEP or individualized instructional plan, does not inform the college or instructor of this, and then gets a grade in a course that he or she thinks they shouldn't have, That final grade is on the student. We really can't help you to accommodate your learning style unless we've been informed that those accommodations are necessary. So again, not filing that form and alerting the college that you could use some accommodations to level the playing field means that that's on you, the student. That's not on your various administrators and faculty members. So if you do need that help, by all means, go get it. If you look below the text, you do see a listing of the three heads of the student access centers across the college. We would technically be on North Campus, so I'd recommend starting with Aaron Garman if you needed to, and you can see his name there at the bottom. Feel free to skip the topical outline. There's actually a much better, more detailed one further on. Skip Starfish. That has a whole lot more to do with life. If we're in the classroom, it's not really going to affect us much right now. Academic integrity, though, will affect us and will continue to affect us because, of course, we'll be doing writing, and a significant amount of the credit for the course overall will come from research writing. Both of those facts mean that academic integrity concerns are going to be absolutely necessary ones for us to consider as we progress through the term and do our required academic work. The long and short of it is this. Academic dishonesty will be actionable by the department, the faculty, and eventually the college if it continues. There is a much longer and much more helpful academic integrity document in the syllabus and course info section. Make sure to look at that because signing the course policy agreement form is actually saying that you accept what's in that academic and academic integrity form. So make sure you've read it thoroughly and you understand it. At this point, I have gotten to the end of the syllabus. Again, if you want to go through the rest of the syllabus yourself, feel free. I'll be available for questions via email and through WebEx. In the meantime, have a good weekend. Enjoy the last of your summer, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks.